How did we get here? I can't believe I've been doing this for 4 years. Hello, you are listening to the Late Bloomer Living podcast. I'm Yvonne Marchese, your host, and I'm so happy you're here. I created this podcast to give you inspiration and let you know you're not alone in feeling stuck in midlife. I also invite you to join the Age Agitators Club for women, where we come together monthly to hatch our plans for making waves as we age. Being part of this community for women will remind you on a regular basis that you're not too old, and it's never too late to do that thing you've been thinking about. You can find more information at latebloomerliving.com/community, and I hope to see you there. Hello, my friend, and welcome to the last episode of season 4. So, I just turned 56 last week, and you know, you have birthdays, you start thinking, right? I started thinking about my younger self and what I thought my life was going to look like when I was in my 50s. You know, you're a kid, you start to imagine yourself as an adult. I don't know, am I the only one? I did. Here's the thing, though. This is really strange, but I don't think I ever really imagined myself as a middle-aged woman. I can certainly remember imagining myself being in my 20s and 30s, you know, being a full-fledged adult and doing adult things, right? You get all excited about that when you're a kid, right? Before you realize that adulting sucks. Anyway, and then there was this blackout period of my imagination where I then thought about being older, and then I was just old, right? Just generally old. And along with the picture of myself being old, I think was a picture of myself being frail and all the typical beliefs that we all have about aging. That's what I thought. You know, my whole life I wanted to move to New York to pursue an acting career. And in my mid-20s, I remember telling myself or asking myself, if I don't do this now, and I'm in my 80s in my rocking chair, am I going to be disappointed? So it's very informative to me now that I pictured myself in a rocking chair when I was in my 80s. Just saying. I want to point out that I don't think I'm the only one who does this. I think there's a lack of imagination and visualization and planning for midlife. And I'm going to call midlife anywhere between your 40s and, I don't know, your 70s or something, or whatever. I heard somebody say midlife is a stage, not an age. You can't really predict what's really the middle. So it really is this wide swath of time, right? Anyway, did I expect my 50s to look like it does? I asked myself that question, and I thought, well, okay, I didn't really picture it at all when I was a kid, I think. But when I was in my 40s, then I started to think about, you know, my 50s, right? Because you do. You think about the next decade, the next big number coming around the bend. And I did not expect my 50s to be as, frankly, fantastic as they have been. Because during my 40s, I was too busy beating myself up for getting old, as if I had a choice. So I felt like I was falling apart physically. I had brain fog, and I would say now, looking back, maybe a low-grade depression going on. I had aches and pains. I mean, bursitis in my shoulder, bunions. Those all seemed like very old people things to me. When I'd lose my keys or my phone, I was certain it was because I was getting old and losing my memory. And that's when I'd say, oh, I'm having a senior moment. Oh, you know. I was constantly telling myself I was getting old, and I was afraid of it. And I got to the point where I don't know, I hit a wall, and I knew something needed to change with my stinking thinking and all these negative thought loops. My health wasn't great, and I was heavier than I'd ever been and all those things. So I started going down the self-help route, and I ended up making a commitment to myself for, if you're following me lately, you know I love my 30-day challenges. Well, I think this is my first 30-day challenge, is when I made a commitment to take better care of myself by getting up early every morning for meditation and exercise. I committed to that for 30 days, and I had a love affair with the snooze button, let me tell you. So I had to take my alarm clock and put it across the room so I would actually get out of bed to turn off the alarm. And here's the thing, once I felt better, that's when I realized that I was like, wow, I feel better now than I've felt in years. And that's when the idea occurred to me that, maybe I don't have to feel worse and worse. Maybe I'm not on an irreversible decline. And I started to get hopeful and curious about my future instead of fearing it. And I think that's what's made all the difference. I'm not saying I don't fear it at all anymore, but I do question my fear these days. And questioning your beliefs is a very powerful thing. You know, we have these ageist beliefs in us that we've absorbed. It's not your fault. It's all around you. Listen to any conversation when you're watching TV, when you get together with people of a certain age these days. People will talk about how getting old sucks, and you know, we see it with the way we talk about our politicians. They're too old. They're too old. It's ageist. And what that becomes is internalized ageism. And once you get to your midlife, suddenly you see yourself as being old. And then your ageism becomes self-referential. And that's when it really bites you in the butt and begins to hold you back from doing things because you start to limit yourself based on your age. So leading into this episode, I thought, wouldn't it be fun to have other people send in a little recording with advice to their younger self, or some bit about what they wished they had known when they were younger. And I'm going to play a few of those for you. And I want you to think about this for yourself too. What would you like to tell your younger self if you had the chance? What do you know now that you wish you'd known then? Or what would you like to tell somebody who's younger than you and you see them struggling? It's another way to go with it too. So this first recording was sent in by my dear friend, Adam Rothenberg. He is the host of an entertainment platform called Call Me Adam, and he has interviewed over 2,000 celebrities and entertainers from Broadway to television, and he's just a totally great guy. So here we go with Adam's bit of advice to his younger self.
This is Adam Rothenberg, and the advice that I would give my younger self is to hold on tightly to your dreams of wanting to work in the entertainment business, because one day you are going to discover that you are going to get to work in it in a completely different way than you ever imagined.
I love Adam's recording, and what I take from it is don't give up on your dreams and allow yourselves to be surprised. And I'm going to say, hey, I think that is good advice for anybody at any age. I'm just going to say that. Okay, our next recording is the freaking fabulous Kat Corchado, otherwise known as my salty sister. We do a show together live every Friday. If you don't know about it, you should. Go check it out. You can find some of the episodes on my YouTube channel, which is Late Bloomer Living. Kat's wonderful. She has her own podcast called Sisters in Service. She is also the founder of Small Space Pilates. She's a movement specialist, and she's wonderful for helping you feel better in your body. Here we go.
This is the freaking fabulous Kat Corchado, and I wish I had known when I was much younger not to worry so much, because worrying does nothing for you except stresses you out. I wish I had known that then. And also, I wish someone had told me that I was going to be okay, that I was going to get through whatever it was I was trying to get through, and that I was going to be okay. Yeah, I think that's it. Thanks, Yvonne.
Wow. Don't you just want to go back and hug your younger self and tell them, don't worry, you're going to be okay? I definitely do. I think of my little younger self, and she was trying so hard, and she was so frustrated sometimes by lack of progress. And I just want to tell her, don't worry, it's going to be okay. Because you know what? Really, every time I worried about things, especially after I became a mom, I will say this, I was not much of a worrier until I became a mom. And then I became a worrier. And I have come to realize that worry just doesn't help. So why waste the time on it? And literally everything I ever worried about ended up working out. Maybe it didn't work out exactly the way I wanted it to, but it did work out. So great advice, Kat. All right, our next recording was sent in by Donna Bender from the Donna Bender Company. She is a certified givologist. She is the creator of the Giving Plan, and she is a branded product strategist who approaches business differently. She has proven that you can build a meaningful, fun, profitable business by giving with no strings attached, and she is so much fun. You've got to go over and check out her YouTube channel where she often appears in costume, I'm just going to say. So here we go with Donna's advice to her younger self.
Hi, Yvonne. This is Donna Bender. And what I would tell my younger self is enjoy every day. Find something you can enjoy every day. Thank the people in your life every day. Know that it takes less muscles to smile than to make a frown. And follow your passion. And know that if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Wishing you all the best. Take care.
Ooh, of course. I mean, I love the advice to enjoy every day, right? You know I'm all about that. But here's the next step. Thank someone every day. That's what Donna is all about. And I love that she said, know that if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Boy. Okay. Next up, we have the inimitable Jack Perez, who is the founder of Cool Life, which is a media platform that is all about normalizing aging, and it's for women in midlife and beyond. She's a powerhouse, I'm just going to say. So here are the words from Jack Perez.
So I guess if I was going to go back in time and tell myself anything, and I hesitate because once you mess with the past, would that alter your current reality of who you are? So I'm not sure that I would actually do this, but if I was going to do anything, I think I would encourage myself to disappoint myself less often than I have in my life. That sometimes it's better to disappoint other people than to disappoint yourself. But once again, I say that with the caveat of maybe we shouldn't meddle. Maybe we shouldn't meddle because then it would change who we are. And if you like who you are, then why would you alter any of the ingredients that got you there?
I think Jack brings up a really good point when she says, do you really want to mess with this? Because here's the thing, we all have our past. They are what they are, and they've made us who we are. Don't mess with your current reality. Don't mess with the timeline. I really love, though, that her advice to herself would be to disappoint herself less and to be okay with disappointing other people. Yeah, that's a hard one to learn, isn't it? And here's the thing, though. Other people are going to be disappointed. You cannot please everybody all the time. I think they wrote a song about that. All right. Our next recording was sent in by somebody who's so special to me, Kim White, otherwise known as the Kindergarten Princess. She is my business coach. She is just a lovely human being who nurtures and cares for other people. Here we go.
Something I wish I had known when I was younger was to trust my intuition. I think my intuition would have saved me from so much, because every time something really bad happened in my life, there was this feeling of I shouldn't do something, or I should maybe go a different direction. And I listened to others around me instead of listening to that gut feeling or that intuition. And every single time my intuition was right, and what I did was wrong when I listened to someone else.
There we go again. I think Kim is echoing Donna. And Donna's saying that if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Here's Kim with trust your gut, baby. You know, if we listen to other people too much, it can lead us wrong, can't it? And I think that ties into what Jack was saying too. Be okay with disappointing other people. I think we've been trained to be people pleasers, and yes, it's nice to please other people, but I do think we are here to live our best lives. And when we do that, we give permission to other people to do the same. Think about that. All right. So our last recording, last but not least, was sent in by Teresa Paul. She is an author and a blogger. She is an autism and ADHD mom and an advocate for women over 40. So let's see what Teresa has to say.
Hi, Yvonne. Advice I give to my younger self is that you're doing the best that you can with what you do know now. Love yourself. See the love in you. It's hard to see, but you need to start loving yourself. I know it's hard. And you're going to get hope. You may not make the right choices, but life is going to get better.
Okay, mic drop. Really. Love yourself more. Yes. Remember that you are doing the best you know how to do. And if you're talking to your younger self, maybe this is a good way to forgive yourself for something that you did in the past that you feel some sort of shame about. What if you were to look back on yourself, that younger version of yourself, and say, hey, I know that didn't work out the way you wanted to, but you were doing the best you could at the time. You were doing the best you knew how to do with what you had available to you at that moment in time. And forgive yourself. And move on, baby. I love that everybody took the time to send in recordings. Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, this has got me thinking about what my 70 or 80-year-old self would want me to know now. Okay, I have a challenge for all of us. If you are in a spot where you can get a piece of paper, go get a piece of paper. Do this now. I've done this before, and this is incredibly powerful. I want you to write a letter to yourself, to you now, whatever age you are. And that letter is coming from you in the future, let's say 10 or 20 years from now. What do you think? Just open up your imagination a little bit. What do you think that older version of yourself would want you to know now? And what would they thank you for? Are you doing anything now that they would thank you for? For me, I can imagine myself in 20 years thanking myself for meditating every day. Gotta say, game changer for me. I would thank myself for moving my body every day and taking care of my body, because right now I'm imagining it. I'm 56 years old right now, right? In 20 years, I'm going to be 76 years old. And the 76-year-old me, I hope that she is still running around and doing things. Who knows if I'll have grandkids by that point, but I want to be playing with them. And I'm hoping that my 76-year-old self will look back and say, hey, thank you so much for doing that. I think she'll also thank me for starting this podcast. Just saying, because this podcast has changed my life. And now I'm getting all verklempt and gushy, but it truly has. Being on this path with you, with the guests that have been on this podcast, life-changing stuff. So, that said, I'm going to be off and not putting out new podcasts for about 6 weeks. In the meantime, there are some old episodes that you can go back to and explore. This is episode 197, so I'm just saying there's 196 other episodes for you to go listen to. I will say that before I started recording, I did go to the statistics from the podcast host that I the technical host where all this stuff lives, and I looked up some of the most listened to episodes. So one of those is my origin story, which was episode 1. If you want to know how this podcast got started 4 years ago and hear a newbie podcaster talking for the first time on a microphone, you can go listen to that one. Some other top listened to episodes. One of them is pretty recent. It was Mimi Eisen. She is an Instagram influencer. I will say you can look her up there. She's amazing. She goes under Hey Middle Age. And she started boxing in her 50s. She is my shuffle dance challenge inspiration. I see her doing shuffle dances in her 60s, and I'm like, yes, that looks like fun. I want to learn how to do that. So Mimi Eisen is fantastic. And the name of that episode is Strength, Fitness, and Fun at Any Age. A perennial favorite for me. She's so funny. Her name is Jen Polt. Back when I interviewed her, she was Jen Robinson. So it's episode 92. The title of it is I Am Enough. And Jen she's fantastic. Oh my gosh. How do I even encapsulate what she does? She's a beauty and style expert. She has a huge following on Instagram under the name Making Up for Glost Time. She is funny. She does style ups with clothing. She talks about beauty brands. But most of all, she is a fierce advocate for women over 50 to do their own thing. And the next one that comes up on the most listened to list is an episode where I interviewed Sky Bergman. The episode was number 192. The topic was resilience, positivity, and purpose at every age. Sky is a photographer turned filmmaker, documentary filmmaker, and she put out her first documentary is called Lives Well Lived. She's now following it up with others, but Lives Well Lived is wonderful. It was inspired by her grandmother. She started recording her grandmother cooking, and it grew into a whole thing. Her film celebrates the wit and wisdom of adults aged 75 to 100 who are living their lives to the fullest. And the reason I think this is such an impactful episode is because it'll give you hope for what your old age could look like. There's a lot of stories of resilience in her film, by the way. I really recommend finding it and streaming it. Then we have Lori Lewis. That was another very popular episode, and it's called Intermittent Fasting with Lori Lewis. It was episode 47. One of her quotes is, "It's not a diet, it's a quiet." You know, if you're curious about intermittent fasting, she is a great source of information. And then the last one I'll highlight here at this moment is an episode that I did with Maggie Bergen. It was episode 153. And the topic of that one was starting a business later in life. Maggie is a branding expert and a whole lot of fun to talk to. So those are some popular episodes you can check out while I am not just taking a break, but also thinking about where we're heading for season 5. I'm so excited. I actually already have several guests lined up to interview for the new season. People I'm really excited about, so yay. But in the meantime, I'm going to be doing a lot of thinking and planning and what do I want this next season to be like? So I can't wait to see you back here for the beginning of season 5, and September 18th is when I will be back. Okay? So don't go away. Stick around, listen to some old episodes, and I will be back to play with you on September 18th, 2024. Thank you so much for listening, for being on this wacky, amazing, fun ride with me. And hey, you know what? Keep blooming, baby. Always be blooming. Go do something fun. Go do something that challenges you a little bit in the next 6 weeks. And then send me an email or leave me a message and tell me about it. Do yourself a 30-day challenge. How about? How's that for a challenge while we're gone? That's it. That's it. That's all for now. I love you. Thank you so much for being with me yet again. And talk soon.